please welcome the director of Plan B, Natalie Morales. I'm demasking, but you can keep yours on.
I think I'm going to.
Feel better.
Just because, who wants to get COVID right now?
I do. I want it so bad.
Clearly.
I just want to lose some weight. I'm desperate. So you have 2 films out this year.
Yeah.
in the middle of the COVID times.
Yeah. It wasn't.
How did that happen? Like, which one did you start working on first? Like, when in the COVID timeline did you? Was this all in the can before the COVID lockdown happened?
No, they were very simultaneous, which was not on purpose. So I'd been working on this movie. Do I sound like Darth Vader behind this mask, or is it okay? Okay, great.
It's pretty high.
Awesome. So I had been working on this movie since I think about 2018, and then we were slated to start shooting March of 2020. And so I was in Syracuse, which is where we shot that, in February, prepping. People's hair had been bleached, sets had been built, houses were painted, and the Friday before the Monday when we were going to start shooting, we got shut down like the rest of the world did. And then I didn't know if it was going to come back at all or what was going to happen. Then I was just kind of sitting at home in May. I was writing. I was doing whatever I could, like whatever we all could at that time. And then Mark Duplass called me and was like, "Do you speak Spanish? I have a kind of like a seed of an idea." So then we wrote and we shot language lessons within a month, like in 4 weeks. And then while I was editing language lessons, is that feedback from me? How's that? Okay. While we were editing language lessons, I was shooting this. This came back in September, and I was actually doing reshoots for language lessons on the weekends while shooting this. And then language lessons came out in like Berlin and South by Southwest first, but then this came out in Hulu first. So and then now language lessons comes out this Friday. So it's very like weirdly simultaneous, not on purpose.
That's amazing.
Don't recommend it to anybody doing that much work all at once, but it just happened that way, and I couldn't, drop the ball on either of them. So
it sounds exhausting, but
it was.
Now you're probably glad it turned out that way.
I'm very glad.
You look like a rock star stud.
Thank you. Yeah, and I'm also like very hard to pigeonhole now. Because they're very different movies,
yes.
So that's exciting for me.
Yeah, let's talk about this. So, how did this script come to you, and what made you decide you wanted to do kind of a screwball high school sex comedy?
Right now, puberty is telling you to step on the gas.
If your vagina was a car, what would it be?
Ferrari.
It stays covered up and completely untouched in the garage.
It's a big night for you. Inviting your crush?
Partying and drinking. I feel so stimulated.
Is this what white privilege feels like?
Hey, good choices. Oh, fuck.
We need the morning after pill.
I got one more right here.
That could be anything.
I got some pill.
Sunny?
It's like a really small chance it might be PCP.
Well, I had not directed a feature before this. Now I've done 2. I had not directed a feature before this, and I wanted to, and I didn't. I had written my own, and that's very hard to do, as we all know, when no one will let you do it. But I had directed some episodes of Room 104. That's the most, I would say, the biggest thing that I'd done. I'd done a lot of music videos, all my friends' music videos. Anybody that would let me do their music video, I did. I did a bunch of Funny or Die stuff. I did a bunch of sketch stuff, and then Mark Duplass actually gave me the opportunity to do Room 104, which is what got me into the DGA, which is what sort of propelled me into this space where I was being kind of considered for other things. And then so this script came to me that was...
He just asked you out of the blue, like, hey, would you ever want to direct one of our episodes of our show?
He had seen a music video that I directed for Andrew Bird and really liked it, and so asked me to direct an episode that he had written, and then liked that episode, so asked me to direct another one. But then, so this script, the Plan B script, came to me. It was already in the hands of the producers, who were John Hurwitz and Hayden Schlossberg, who had done Harold and Kumar and Blockers, and now do Cobra Kai, and have done a bunch of stuff And I was like, there's no way in hell I'm going to get this. I really liked the subversion of the genre. Like, I really liked, I was like, I think if I did this, not to toot my own horn, but if I did this, it could be really special. Because I feel like there's a way that we can give, like, the teenage crazy quest, like, insane R-rated comedy movie this kind of multiple subversions. Because, by the time, when I got that script, Booksmart had not come out. So there was really no female comedies in this genre at all. Not to mention, they're not Caucasian, and they're not rich, and they don't live in California or LA, and they don't go to fancy parties. And the teenage quest movie that we're all used to, that we've all seen, that I loved, that I grew up with, was always like, let's go to the cool party, or let's get the hot girl, or let's get alcohol, or let's get my dad's car back in time,
What were the teen comedies of your era?
I mean, it was like Can't Hardly Wait, and 10 Things I Hate About You, and American Pie, and I mean, there's also, the movies that came before that in the 80s that I also watched a lot, but I grew up in the 90s, so those are the movies that I watched in the late 2000s. I think, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to step further away from you, and I am going to take off my mask, because I cannot breathe. Hi.
You could just say that you really dislike me.
I just really don't want to get COVID.
We're all about honesty here at Film Independent.
I don't want to get COVID, so this feels like 6 feet, right? Okay, here we are.
I'll try to breathe in this
God,
direction.
I could not breathe. All right. Were you guys hearing me going every 2 seconds? Anyway, now I'm going to talk a lot cooler. So not only did it subvert that, like, female and non-white thing, but also the quest in this movie is basic healthcare, which had not been really done in the way that, like, it was this crazy R-rated comedy. And I was like, I want to go all the way with that. Like, I want to show a dick. I really want to do it. I want to go nuts with it. I think that girls deserve that. We've gotten so many insane, gross out, like, R-rated crazy movies that star teenage boys, and we've never had that with girls, and we're just as horny and weird as any other teenage boy. So why shouldn't we have that? And why not do it? And why not go all the way? And the fact that having a movie like that may attract people to watch it that need the messages that are underneath that is exciting to me. And the sort of, like, medicine with your sugar is exciting to me. My hope is that you're along for this ride and you get to know these girls and you're laughing your ass off, and then they get to the Planned Parenthood and you're like, oh, wow, oh, this is what this movie's about. Shit, they should not be on this road trip at all. They should not be here at all. They shouldn't have to go through this, and neither should anybody in this country. So that was what attracted me to it. Long answer.
So let me talk. Whose show is this?
Sorry.
Were the two in the script? Were the two women already POCs? Or was that a decision that you made?
Yeah. No. That was the original. That was the original goal. Yeah.
So talk about your casting process. These two are amazing,
aren't they? Yeah.
And I don't think that I have seen them in any. I looked them both up, and I think one's a Broadway star, right?
Well, she's done
Singer.
some off Broadway stuff. You could tell she sang. The song at the end, the Man, I Feel Like a Woman.
Oh,
that's Kuhu singing at the end.
That's her?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's really good.
I was like, I want to end the movie with a song, and I want Kuhu to cover it, mostly because we can't afford Shania Twain, but also because I wanted Kuhu to cover it.
And Victoria's career started on the Disney Channel, right?
Yeah, she did some Disney Channel stuff, and she was on Teen Wolf, the newer one.
How did you know that they could pull this off, this style
I didn't.
of comedy?
Well, here I'll tell you this. Victoria was a recast. She was, because our original Lupe was not Lupe. It was Ling Ling. She was a Chinese American girl, and she was not able to do it when the movie came back in September. She was on a job and she was not able to do it. So we went on a big search in the 2 weeks we had before we started filming. And I was very scared, because I was like, if their relationship doesn't work, and if these actors aren't good, and if they don't have good chemistry, the movie falls apart. Like, you don't care about these people, and it doesn't. That is what it is about. It's their friendship. And so we had already exhausted really, even though we continued to open it, we had already exhausted like literally every Asian American actress in that age range when we had cast the person we had cast previously. And so we decided to open it up a little bit to other ethnicities, just to see what we could get. And Victoria came in and just blew us away. And they had to do their chemistry read on Zoom. They had never met, and they had to pretend they were best friends on Zoom. And they made us cry. And we were like, oh, okay, this is special. They have it, and man, like they really, that's what I was looking for, was that chemistry, and they really pulled it off. It would have been a very bad movie had they not had that. Even if they were both great actors, had they not had that real friendship feeling, it wouldn't have worked, yeah.
I mean, I'm one of those people as a former actor who believes that comedy, what's done in here, is way harder than drama. It's hard to make people laugh. And talk about like directing this like crazy physical comedy. Was it... Because you've done that somewhat in your career.
Mm-hmm. I'm a huge Buster Keaton fan. Like huge. It's maybe the biggest inspiration for my work and what I do. But even before I discovered Buster Keaton, that's what I did. I did a lot of physical comedy in my sketch comedy. It's always what I enjoyed doing. I also started out my acting career really on this show called The Middleman, where I did a lot of stunts, and I did my own stunts, and I've done stunts throughout, and so I really like that. I've always liked action stuff, and I've always liked action comedy a lot. And I think that, you're right. I think comedy is difficult, but it's not as, like, the reason they both blend together in this movie for me is because it's all about honesty. Like you just have to be as honest as possible to the moment. And if you create ridiculous situations for people to be in, their honest reactions are going to be funny, And I just happen to have really great actors, and also really great improvisers, like Edie Patterson, who played Doris in The Gas Station, like that. Yeah. That monologue.
I had to rewind that and watch it a few times.
Oh, that was at like 5 a.m. after having been there all night. It was completely improvised by her, and the second that she said he ripped down the seam of his balls, I was like, that's going in the movie. That's definitely going in the movie. There's no way that's not going in the movie. My assistant on the movie, the director's assistant, came up to me and was like, I have to go home. I have peed my pants. And I was like, okay, it's all good. I totally understand. We were dying. We were laughing so hard. And Moses Storm, who plays Andy the drug dealer, also, that was like a whole week of night shoots, which are hard, and it was raining and it was freezing, and it was just so funny. So thank God for all the cast. I mean, they're all fantastic.
So let's talk about this full frontal junk.
Yeah,
it's my favorite subject.
Excited to.
There's so much full frontal junk in shows. It's so funny that you ended up making something that has so much full frontal junk, because it feels like every show has it now. But let's talk about yours.
I felt like every teen movie had boobs and like female full frontal stuff, and I had not seen the opposite, so that's why I wanted to do that. There's no female nudity in the movie.
Oh, I meant like shows that are on Netflix now, like Sex Life or whatever that one was called.
Oh, yeah,
like, is it a prosthetic? Everybody voting on the internet whether they think it's a prosthetic or not.
I mean, that was definitely a prosthetic, just to tell you. I wouldn't have gotten my actress that close to it. Nor would I have ripped someone's actual penis piercing, just to calm all your brains.
It's called a Prince Albert.
Yeah, it is called a Prince Albert. I pierced it myself, by the way. I pierced that prosthetic myself because my prop
in
person
Chicago
was too
had
scared
one.
to.
He liked to show it to everybody.
They often do. Like, I feel like if you get that, you're like, well, I guess I gotta show people. Otherwise, why did I do this?
Right.
Right?
It has to be shown. That bit is amazing. So if it's a prosthetic, then you don't get like a particular rate. Didn't there used to be like ratings issues if you had full frontal?
I think it's still the same rating. It doesn't matter if it's a prosthetic if it looks real, I don't think. But it's an R. It's a hard R, as I like to say.
Hard R.
Although it's not, it wasn't like released in theaters, so it's technically a TV it was a Hulu thing, so we got away with it. I was very impressed, by the way, with Hulu letting me do that. I was like, "Are you sure? Okay."
Hulu's the place to get away with it.
I guess.
I mean, look what they do on Pin 15. Do you watch Pin 15?
I do.
They have like throbbing pussies.
Yes, but yeah.
It's the network of
I was glad
pierced
you let me do
dicks
it.
and throbbing pussies. I'm sure they're proud of that. Because we always have a lot of members that are aspiring filmmakers. Can you talk a little bit about having this be your first experience making a film? Like, is there anything that you sort of wish somebody would have told you before you made a film that you would recommend
Pass on to someone
to
else.
other people, like advice for first-time filmmakers?
I don't know that I wished anybody had told. There was no big surprises for me where I was like, "Oh no, this is what directing is." Like that didn't really happen. But if I was to give advice to anybody directing anything, whether it's a feature or anything else, it's like don't micromanage. Like hire people that you really like and trust and who are good at their jobs. And if they're good at their jobs, they're going to be better at their jobs than you are. That's what I did. I hired people who were much better at their jobs than I could ever be. And then I told them what I wanted, and we worked together to create something. But I always was like, what do you think? What do you want to do? What would excite you? Because 400 heads are better than one. And if I'm good at communicating what my goal is and what my vision is for it, and I am hiring people who are also pumped about that vision, then the best thing is gonna happen. Like it's gonna be this collective project that everybody is psyched to do, and it creates a better set environment and it creates a better final product because there are so many people's hands and brains all over this movie that I could have not done by myself. I mean, that's why I'm against the film by credit, because it's not a film by just me. So many people made this, Watching the credits makes me tear up because I'm like, oh man, so many people put their hearts and souls into this. This is the one, maybe not the one industry, but one of few industries where it's hard, it's really grueling, and the hours are long, and the pay is usually not so great that if you don't love it, you don't do it. You have to love it to do it. And that means that for the most part, everybody on a set is doing their very best, whether that's good or not. It might be shitty, but they are doing their very best. So that's something to respect, and that's something that is unique to this industry that I really love. So when you hire people that you feel good about and that it's exciting, then you have to trust them, and then it becomes really fun all around, And then I don't feel as alone and as scared and as intimidated by the thing because I have a team. I have this ragtag team of people who are behind me on this thing, and then it's exciting,
That was a really good story. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And I agree. It's like what they say about you never feel like you're doing work if you're
I did. It was work.
by
No, I
people
felt like
that
I was
you're
doing a lot of work.
supported by.
No, I definitely felt like I was doing work, but it was fun work. It was good.
It definitely was painful.
Yeah, no, it was work. I was tired. I was very tired. A lot of work to do, but it was fun.
I was gonna say let's talk about the reproductive rights aspect of it. I don't know what exactly that I want to ask about it. I mean, you already talked a little bit about you weren't trying to hit it really hard on the head, but still wanted to make your point about it. Was there anything in it that you changed? Was the Planned Parenthood originally open, but you decided to make it not open? Or
no, the Planned Parenthood was always going to be closed. The thing that just came to my mind that has so much to do about it has to do less with women's rights and health care rights, and more to do with the way women and girls are perceived and judged and depicted in film. And it's something I learned on this movie, and it eventually has to do with these healthcare rights, which is that in the sex scene with Sunny and Kyle, it was scripted that, they're both, like, she's very drunk. Kyle's completely sober, but on his margarita mix. But he thinks he's drunk. Sunny is totally drunk, and it was scripted that, they're in this hug, and she, her eyes open, and she sort of like makes a decision to reach down and like, touch his crotch, right? And I shot it that way, and my editor, who's fantastic, assembled it that way. And the second I saw it, it was like sort of a close-up shot of her opening her eyes, and then her hand going down, and then a reaction shot of him, right? The second I saw that, I was like, oh, we can't do that. And he was like, why? And I was like, because then the audience is going to blame her the entire time because they saw her make the decision. They're going to be like, oh, this is her fault. She's dumb. She should have made this choice, right? And I know that maybe not everybody would have blamed her. My editor certainly was like, but why? Girls can make mistakes too. They should be allowed to. I don't understand. And I was like, you don't understand. Girls and women are judged so differently than lead male protagonists. And we have to show this particular moment. She still makes a decision. You still watch her do it. But if you watch it from the wide, if you watch it further back, then it feels like something that just happened, and not like you're watching her make this decision that then you're going to spend 90 minutes watching her regret, And that's not something that necessarily I would have done had it been a male character. I don't know. But it did make me realize a lot about how women and girls are judged, and how, like, you don't have a lot of female anti-heroes in, like, it's very hard for women to be anything but like good mothers in something, and like, and that was a real lesson for me, and for my editor. We had this really long, amazing discussion about it, where we really discussed it, because I just knew that I had to shoot it another way. I knew that that the people that I needed to watch this, the people whose hearts I needed to change and affect, would not keep watching if I didn't do it like that. So I don't know.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
It sounds like editing in that sense can be a very instinctual process. Like, you have to pay attention to what your gut says when you're watching.
Yeah, what it makes you feel. You have to sort of separate yourself from the creator and watch it as a viewer, right? And go, what does this make me feel? Does this make me... And put yourself in the position of a viewer who's not you also. Like, so many times I think, directors or creators are like, here's my thing, and did you get that I was trying to tell you this? And you're like, no, sometimes you have to dumb it down a little more than you would think, and sometimes you've dumbed it down way too much, you know what I mean? So you have to put yourself in the position of other people and of yourself as a viewer to watch it. But yeah, it's the editing process was really fascinating for me on this. I learned so much about just the perception of girls and women, and how we shoot things, and how long to push the funny and when to drop into the dramatics. It was really fun and interesting to do.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm sure everybody else does too. You get that feeling when you're watching something like, it should have been cut before this. No, it's too much. No, didn't need that in there. I didn't need that. Because it's true, when you're watching them in the bathroom, when she's touching his junk.
Right. It's her decision. It's her decision. I didn't take away her decision. Right. I just manipulated you as the audience member to not watch her eyes while she makes it. And then you don't blame her as much, which is so weird to say, but you don't.
I could stay here on this stage with you all night, but I know they're going to want to close the Harmony Gold at some point. So my last two questions are, do you think, are you trying to line up another directing project after this, or are you trying to go more for acting projects?
I'm, both. I write and I act and I direct, and so I guess I would say all three is the preferred thing. But not always. Sometimes I like to not. Directing is hard, man. Directing takes a lot out of your life. I did not sleep for a lot of nights because I was working all the time, and it really takes years to do one thing, and it also takes you away from other things like I couldn't do acting jobs while I was editing this. So it's a real commitment, and sometimes I just want to act in something and like peace out, which is nice to do. But yeah, I want to do it all, and I want to keep doing whatever I can get away with. So why not?
Last question is, if money's no object, what's your dream project?
That's a good question, but I'm not going to answer it because I'm making it.
You're going to make your dream project?
I mean, that's the goal. Why make anything other than your dream project?
Is it sci-fi Portrait of a Lady on Fire?
It's not. I'll leave that to you. Don't worry. You can have that.
I can't do it by myself.
You can have friends. You can have help.
All right.
You do it.
Thank you so much for coming. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you all for coming and staying. Thank you so much.